Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are building rails to connect new areas to see if we do see, which I do feel pretty good that we're going to see some cherry groves and some sniffers. But to do that, we need to understand archaeology. And now, archaeology in the sense that, in the real world sense, it's like the Indiana Jones, whoops. Oh, sorry, coughing right into the thing. And then we also learned, so wait, are we 56, 64, 56? So no, this is wrong. Hold on. That's the downside to just getting to talking. So we had 58. We need 56. There. Okay, so now, just to make sure that we stay keeping track, and then this will get it on to 48. And the more that you do stuff like this, oh, and we found out this last time. That is just amazing. Like, it, mind blown. And I gotta wonder if that isn't part of the new update. I don't know. Like, because I feel like that doesn't make sense before. Like when I've messed with mines or redstone contraptions, which hasn't been a lot, mind you. I've got the doors that slam back at the base, and now I want to test that. If it's just a matter of uh, having two redstone torches on the same circuit, and then that negates them or makes them turn off. And that does make sense, like in computer science, in tech, like, oh, circuit logic and stuff. In fact, circuit logic. Oh, wait, this is as far south as we needed. That's right. So that's why we have this map up, so we know when to stop. Although I do kind of generally go past a little bit, and then like one or two. We don't need to, no. I mean, eventually we are going to continue on down. So that's why in the last episode that we just did, I was a little confused when I was looking around. Let's see, there we go. And pick up this netherrack because netherrack is really useful. You can light it on fire and all that. Oh, and now, oh, of course we left the minecart. All right, so anyways, now that we've gone at least a little farther south than the green dot there, we know that once we drill this way, coming from Jules or July's Jules. See, now I'm not so sure about that name. Like, we can always change it. Like, we just changed the 7 one. Or no, now I'm trying to think about that. The next map is going to be 8. It's going to be related to 8 somehow. So, jeez. I was a little impatient with some of the locals yesterday, or the last episode, yesterday. I mean, in Minecraft days, maybe. So, anyways, here we are. We can just take this back. And that's why I put the block, but that's why I was also confused. Maybe this block is actually at... Nah, hard to tell. Anyways, we're going back to the main, like, the main up and down, the main longitudes. If we were talking about this as like an Earth globe, the up and down lines or the long lines or the latitudes lay flat. And actually, that's kind of misleading because the latitudes, although I say that, but longitude lines, they're all long because they go from pole to pole, whereas latitude or the flat ones, when you're looking at a map, they just run east to west. We gotta go south now. And we need, let's go ahead and stash this netherrack. And a couple of rails, because already I know that we're not gonna need this ridiculous amount. Like, we definitely didn't need this many power rails. And then, yeah, because one power rail stack equals 8 stacks, so 8 times 64. 6 times 8 is 48, so that's already 480 plus 4 times, wait, 8, 32. So we got 512, and that sounds about right, like 512 megabytes or something. So even then, if you've got 8 bytes, it's just that is. I did good in computer architecture up until we got into the actual math of figuring that out. Then it was like, I don't know. I needed more time practicing and studying the formulas and then like drilling them into my memory. And then for them to not matter too. Like when we're talking about like spinny disks versus solid state memory, the spinny disks are like the HDD, which I don't even know what that stands for. I was looking it up the other day, but that's why I call them spinny disks, is because like that's just what computers were for the longest time. Now we have solid state, which is like you think like flash drives and stuff, especially they just keep getting bigger and bigger. They can just have like I'm still confused. It's like because really all you're doing is you're recording a 0 or a 1. That's all you're doing with memory, and so like and the spinny disks had a bunch of zeros and ones. I want to say that was magnetic to show like that's why you had to be careful with a magnet around a computer. Nowadays, I don't even know because I grew up learning that like, oh, don't touch your computer with a magnet or don't touch your phone with a magnet. You'll melt the memory or whatever. Oh. Or melt isn't exactly the right word. It's more like oh wait, did I already make a hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't Oh, never mind. This is what we measured off of. Sorry. Oh, and I started doing a tunnel. And I started doing it 3 wide even, see? So eventually I do want to get it 3 or even 4 wide, but I did want them to be kind of like in relation to I mean, to a point. I'm not saying it has to be exact. And we can always change this too. Like once we get the nether portals all where we want, like, or like tethered on the other side, we can change the location of this. In fact, that's what I do a lot of times. In fact, go ahead and let's go ahead and mine because we're gonna come through to that tunnel that we just dug, and then we'll build the rail, and we'll be done. So and then we can start exploring. So that's cool. But in fact, where are we at? It's like almost 8 minutes in. We're about like halfway done. Oh, I'd say like 3/4 or like a quarter. I don't know because we're still digging it. And then yeah, but anyways, computer architecture. So in relation to memory, so solid state, it's a lot less. Oh, and I didn't finish that thought. Then I saw Apple products have magnetic chargers and stuff. Like you could actually use a magnet to hold the charging plug in. And so that confused me because I was like, that goes against everything I knew about computers. I was like, no, magnets are bad for computers because it could offset the memory. Like if, I mean, I still don't understand. I would have to look that up to know for sure whether, like, if you pushed a magnet against it, if it reset it to 0 or if it sets it to 1. And I guess that's if it's negatively or positively charged, because, even when you have a magnet with another magnet, depending on which side you put towards the other one, it either repels or attracts. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. So, and it is like just one of two options that you're trying to accomplish. So it's either 1 or 0. It could be, Z and a cow. It doesn't matter. As long as there's only two choices, it still falls within the guidelines of binary computation and binary numbers. So, and that's to say, like, we do base 10. We do decimals, which is deci, usually, meaning 10. But then I get into like deci and decameters and kilometers and like the metric system. But there, see, bada bing. Oh, all right. So we did go a little further south, but not much. And now, so this is where we'll have another portal. In fact, we'll go ahead and probably put it here. But again, like we can change these later, and I fully intend to make maybe not as good as the one that Waddles did, but I love making nether hubs or travel hubs in the nether. Like So see, these are actually kind of at the top. So what we could do is we could like dig out around and down, and then have like just this just be a landing platform, or you know, or even just I don't know, because I do like being right up next to the bedrock as far as this is concerned. But like Waddle's made this like extravagant like whole nether portal and everything. It just looks really cool and yeah. So, anyways, and here we go. Although let's do that. Um, yeah, why not? I was just thinking like, because usually I say just a couple, and then because it gets really slow if like, yeah, but I don't know. I might rethink that later. But if I do, it's just a matter of adding another rail because it doesn't have to be 8 away. That's just trying to like make the most efficient use of the resources because resources is time. I mean, that's why. Oh, another reason I just love this game is because like as you're mining your resources, it teaches you appreciation for the resources that you have, and then you go and you build something, you get all even more excited because it's like not only did it take the time for you to actually build it and plan it, design it, and everything. It took the time to harvest to prepare for it. So yeah, it's an awesome game, and it teaches you so much. And the more like we'll play with redstone maybe even like in this because now I'm like, all right, come on. All right, where are we at? 52. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. We didn't have to resort to violence on that one, but 45. All right. And see, I'm just even counting in my head, like, and 24 is easier. Like 24, 16, like I know those are factors of 8. I mean, because I can comfortably multiply, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4. Yeah, even 32. But like 40 even almost sounds foreign. Just like when adding numbers, whether it's inclusive or exclusive, like things you don't think about as a kid, you just kind of memorize and it's drilled into your mind like a specific number set of addition, subtraction. Whoa. And same with squares too, because I remember in my pre-calculus class in high school, which was basically like a lot of, um, I don't know, and math kind of stopped being fun after trig. Like even trig was just kind of like getting into all these like sine, cosine, tangent, circles, and then which was cool, but I don't know. Geometry was awesome. Uh, And eventually, I do want to. I mean, there's already stuff out there, but I believe it's stuff you have to pay for. So I do want to still make like free versions of like software specifically. Ooh, that actually ended kind of nicely. Boom. There we go. So now we need obsidian. Oh, that's it. Oh, no, we're going back up. And then, so once we have obsidian, then we can build the portal. But that's actually, let's go look at the redstone thing since we're going back to the main base and Darius. In fact, we can go ahead and we need to get an item frame. So item frame, obsidian, going all the way up. But yeah, like I still want to make, guys, I really wanted to make a Math Blaster video game. Like that would be the ideal. So I'm kind of thinking, let's see. Yeah, because like this, I want to just make a big extravagant thing. But Anyways, yeah, because that's how I learned basic math growing up, was Math Blaster, at the same time as like Oregon Trail. At least Math Blaster was in color. So, because Oregon Trail was just like this green, or I guess I take that back. There was a couple versions of Oregon Trail. The first version that I played very briefly, I want to say when I was in like first grade. Um, yeah, like really like the very beginning of my, educational experience. We were playing Oregon Trail on the old computers that were like black and white or black and green, really. Um, yeah. We have a ton of netherrack. We're still doing good on rails on. I feel like we did drop off some, so yeah. Let's go test that redstone. So yeah, see like they turn off. It's like two positives make a negative, just like two negatives make a positive. I don't know. There's a lot of this is also like getting into state machine type concepts. And what a state machine is it's a machine at different states. So like this is kind of a state machine because this is either the on or off state, these gold rails. And when you have a redstone torch next to it, it goes to the on state. And whereas if you broke one of these redstone torches, it would go to the off state and the minecart would actually stop. Or yeah, and it does stop. It doesn't allow passage through because we found that out when I had that broken. And we're gonna have to. I'm getting really tired of this. I think I'm gonna change it back for now. This will work. No, even as I say that, it did not work. But just for now, because I keep going back and forth, and I don't want to have to keep chasing minecarts and doing all that nonsense. Like who has time? You're thinking about Rick and Morty, Jerry. Like, who needs it? Ugh. Yeah, so to test it, let's see. 'Cause if I'm understanding that correctly, because if I just understand that, like, this piece, this rail, I think it's the detector rail, is a button because then when the minecart goes over it, and that's why I know this is the button because it's the line or it's what's connected to the circuit. Whereas this one is just like a reactive. It's called the activator rail, but it's a reactive, just like how we were talking in the math section of, or no, this is the science section of the GED that I just put out. Wow, if you're watching Minecraft videos, you might not be hoothed to that, but I put out a science GED video the other day, and there was one of the questions was like the dependent and independent variables of an experiment. So it was like the variable that depended on like what you were trying to test, and the one that was different. Anyways, so but here we have the activator rail, which activates based on, although so now I'm actually confused because what if this is actually the button and these two turn on? That would actually make sense. Let's go see what these even are. Or wait, we can do the. Let's see, go to Rails. Well, so yeah, detector tells me it's like when the minecart passes over it, but it's really so too close to tell. Then activator, I think, is the one that shakes the cart, and it makes you, it kicks you out of it. So what we would need is, and maybe some red stone. You know, just a skosh. Whoops. Yeah, that's fine. We can put. Oh, we do need obsidian. So before I forget, we're not even to that point yet to exploring Octo, whatever we decide to call it. Let's see. Oops. I mean, it really. Actually, I say that, but why don't I just take all of it? We're gonna need that 10. I'm gonna leave the 47 at the Nether hub. But let's go test out this redstone contraption because as it is, I have that. And so that might actually do it because then the thing will turn it off. No. So that doesn't do it. Okay, well that proves that they're both locked shut, so they're like constantly. Uh, yeah, see, it's not as simple as. Hmm. Somehow they have to like be charged. And then you're getting into like the danger area of, so it has to kind of be like on this level. Or is it maybe like this and then? Yeah, so that's not even working to charge it there. So it works on the floor, but not on the side of there. But if you do, I want to say if you do here, no? What if you charge this block? There. Okay, so that's what I was trying to say. So then if you look at it, it's all janky because it's just the. Oh, it is both of them. Oh, okay, because it is connected. I see, which is also important to learn, so, or to understand. So if you're trying to build one of these doors, I've had a lot of problems with. Oh, okay, it's just back into the locked state because anywhere, and I've run this redstone just as such. So if you have this way or that, then down and over, so it's just like an L around your stack of two pistons. Then that will control them at the same time. Because if you don't have this, well, then you're not going to reach that one. So then now let's look at, see, it just does one. Yeah, so, but then if you put the redstone powder up here, charging the second level, then you get both the pistons. So, anyways, all that to say, I thought just adding a redstone torch to this and then sending a double charge, like two positives, would make a negative, but that is not the case. So, I don't know. Like, Yeah, I don't know because this sends a charge. Oh well. So that's where I'm at. I mean, but let's go set rail and explore. We'll drop off the redstone dust. But definitely take the obsidian and yeah. Oh, and do we have there we go. Alright. And then item frame. See, that could have been bad. Oh, and then again, item frames in where they should have been. All right, because you need the item frame. In fact, hmm, yeah, let's do that. Let's bring. Let's basically make like a home away from home stash of just things that you would need when exploring. Like I have here. Oh, see, so like assuming that I would actually look up there. So maybe I should have this down here with like, you know, I don't know. Then there's an argument for putting item frames over here because this is where I keep my rails. And so, which I do. Oh, see? Oh, so much nonsense. See, so this, like, see, I don't, I'm so confused. Like, I'm almost wondering if I put redstone dust on the other side of it and it just had, because somehow, like, this setup with the redstone torch, even that I don't really understand. Because it has to be on the ground. So that's just a, I guess there's another layer of understanding to redstone torches. Because see, that's not charged. Like if this block is not giving off power, you get that from here. But yet, if you receive a signal, so this turns this on, then having this, because if you take these off, wait, are we? Ah, are you kidding me? I don't know if that was a troll or I don't know. I don't think so. So, never mind. This did absolutely nothing at all. Wow. I mean, yeah, same as like even on this side, it does nothing. So the rail, oh, what happens if it's always charged like that? Those, what? Um, uh, this is hurting my head. Like, how much of this was actually necessary? Not all. Now I'm almost thinking that's a troll. Like, all right, so we're learning stuff. We're learning stuff. We just need a bunch of these, and then we put those. Oh my gosh, that makes things so much easier than just putting a block of netherite down or netherrack. But although, and I do have some, so let's bring a bunch of activators. And we need some detector rails, so let's see what those cost. So those are the activators. Stone pressure plates. Oh. Don't have any cooked? There we go. And get rid of the copper and then that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, you can tell I'm quite the hoarder, but I just can't believe that all of that wasn't necessary. So, and that's actually good to point out because when you're learning things, and that's also why I tell people, remain humble because you never know. Let's see, weighted pressure plate. No, what we need is. Oh, I didn't need to do the slab, but all right. Anyways. So now. Oh, because I need iron. All right, that's fine. So that's all it needs to be. Although no, I don't think it's a troll, and here's why. Because my buddy who made, let's actually go back and look at the map. So my buddy who made that contraption, I brought that, uh, the idea back here, and I replicated it. He built it here twice. Like, so it's at the nether portal, and then it's also at that floating island base. I don't know, three times then, because then it's on the other side, and there's even a woodland mansion down here. Oh, Yeah, I might change that actually, because I don't know. It's just like Julian or something with July, or Julius. Or Julius's despair. I don't know. No, we won't make it all negative and stuff or Jules might make more sense. All right, let's see. We have the obsidian. We don't need the. Let's see. Don't need the pressure plates. There we go. Oh, there's the observers. I was trying to see what they look like. I think you can just. Whoa. That's what I'm trying to see. Like. So that's like the indicator light, I want to say, when it's like on or off. So again, more redstone stuff. So it doesn't work there. But if we were to put... Also, I think it has to be a block that can be charged. Does it have to be like cobblestone? Well, let's check it out. Oh wait, wait. It's there we go. That's what I was trying to see. So you can see it's detecting when there's a change in the block below it, because that's what it's observing. So that its eyes or those lenses. That's what I was trying to figure out because this is the city texture pack. So it looks all weird. But anyways, and then you can't even. So that's fine. And I think you can just, yeah, get the observer back. So, all right, let's. Okay, so we have detector rails, activated rails, and we need two of these for every nether portal. I don't know. I mean, we don't really need any of it. I mean, a block of netherrack does the same thing. Like it stops you. Oh, oh. Well, that powers all three of those. Oh, wait. Okay. I think we just learned something. Oh man, this is embarrassing. Although good to see. So this is science, observation, understanding, recording. I mean, I'm not really documenting it to the full potential of sorry. So the point of all that and this is that when you're riding, the powered rails get turned off. And then the minecart stops. Never mind. Okay. So we're still gonna take a bunch of those activated rails and such, but yeah, a block of netherrack will do that. Then it makes you full stop. Just these pieces will make you stop, but then your minecart might start rolling off. Especially if you have power ups or power rails right there. This is the ultimate optimized, at least in my understanding. This is the most optimized I've seen in this world. There you go. It's a good way to describe it. So, enough of that. And I noticed we just took a stack of redstone dust too, but whatever. We can bring that out. But yeah, so this game is just so much fun. There's so much going on here, and like there's so much potential. Oh, and then yeah, now that I don't know why I didn't realize you can put rail on glass blocks, but you can, and you can put redstone on glass blocks. I don't know, because I feel like there's certain blocks that can't be charged or can't have electricity going through them. And so that's another cool thing about this game. Like you think about all this stuff, just basic, really basic blocky concepts, but you know, how much electrical charge do you need to keep a circuit going? That's something to consider. I mean, when you're getting into like building houses, you know, you have so much current hitting the house from the main line, and then you've got the main lines, you know, the power lines. In fact, there's a there's a power line trail in Fort Collins. It's like right by a bunch of gigantic power lines, which is kind of creepy if you were walking down there um in the rain because you can hear it all cackling and everything. Let's see. Actually, it's good we brought the redstone dust because uh, the torches, the activator rails, the detector rails, because yeah, it serves two functions. Sorry, I might go back to sleep. I woke up super early because I don't know. I was yeah really tired yesterday. Went to bed pretty early for my standards. Like Friday night you'd think like oh I'm gonna stay up and and do stuff and have fun, enjoy it. Nah, I was in bed by like 10 and up by like 3 a.m. So yeah, I think I'll go back to sleep for a little couple hours. But anyways, we have our activator rails, detector rails. I'm not gonna mess with all that in this one because I want to get to exploring. Yeah, we're the party squid, and it's almost an hour of like nothing. All right, so, oops. Yeah, I'm really not liking July's Jewels now. That was a definitely failed naming convention. But we're going over to Octopolis. Yeah, but I like Octopolis. That's a win. Septopolis was pretty good too, but maybe no, maybe we can change it back to Septopolis and then I don't know. Anyways, that's how much Haman and Han I'll do just about a name. Huh. So I don't know what's in a name. Ooh, and I almost want to say I want to take another stack of 10 with me to wherever we end up going. There we go. So we have the okay. We have the flint and steel, an extra one, item frame, and obsidian. Those are what you need to do a map. Now we're going to the 8th place, so to the west of this one in my right hand, Septopolis. Yeah, we're changing that back to Septopolis. Um, and then over here to Quater. Oh, that's just right out. Like if you're talking the Holy Hand Grenade with Monty Python. So we can either go down and over or over and down. So let's go over and down. So we've already got, yeah, I think that's the mark of the map. And then we can watch our arrival here. And see, even as I say that, I do want to make these hallways like 3 wide and then alternate where the redstone torch is. But it is cool to know. Okay, so there's that. And now, see, it's weird that it's all the way down there, but in fact, let's fix that. I keep talking about it, but like, because you should stop right by the portal, and then you don't have to like. Okay, cool. So now, um, I still need to go south more. That's right, because this is the base in Quater, and I need to go. Oh, in Quater and Octavius. Octavius might be. I want to say Octavius Aurelius was like one of the old Roman or Greek generals, or Augustus Aurelius. I don't know. I studied at one point, I believe in Western Civ, and then again in history. Yeah, because Western civilization was like Greek, Athens, or Greece, Athens, Rome, uh, etc. All right, there we go. Now we're. Oh wow, we're okay. And stop. So again, we need another rack. Okay. Oh man. Okay. And so wherever we go, and that's what's really cool about doing these exploring things. Like, so we're gonna just do. Wait. So we're now further sound. Okay. I guess I should have looked first before I just started building it, but we're okay. And then bada bing. So now to worlds unknown. Oh, and you know what? We did not bring extra paper, which is problematic. Oh wait, what? Are you kidding me? Ah. So we, wow. All right, well, hmm. What I was gonna say was we can get wood wherever we warp to, but we're gonna warp inside a geode. Oh, so first we're going to reclaim. It's just good practice to reclaim the corners of this. Oh, and then even as I do that, I broke a piece of amethyst. So this is awesome because yeah, we're gonna. Or wait, we can just do that. You want to make sure you get the corners of the nether portal, because then you can save on harvesting. Wait, I want to make sure I'm not going to break it, even though it just means I got to rebuild it and then light it again. But yeah, we can actually get all this. Um, yeah, I'm not too worried about the crystals. And the calcite and the smooth basalt, like they're okay, but I mean, really, the amethyst is. I mean, it makes music as you walk on it. It's like, yeah, I don't know, a very cool block in my opinion. So all day I'll get this. But basically, we need to go back and get the paper anyway, and the chances of finding enough sugar cane to be able to make up enough paper for what we need is very slim. So yeah, and I don't really need the calcite because I want to say the calcite the calcite. I want to say calcite is what you also find in the mountains, and I know I've harvested a bunch of that too. So unless I'm wrong, which I could be mistaken, like just like how perfect example, I didn't understand fully how that rail system worked, and it's because the powered rails need to be turned off or powered off. But again, that gets to like, although the shards, there's something to be said for that. because then you can make those telescopes and maybe some new stuff. I don't know. That might be part of the updates where we can have new stuff to construct because I don't know. Updates change things. It's an update. So that's starting to sound like Waddles. Like, yeah. He does some really good Minecraft videos. Oops. There you go. It almost sounded like the happy birthday song. Yeah, I think this is just smooth basalt, which, like, once we start exploring the nether a little more, we'll get a lot of those blocks. So I'm not as worried about it when we get these geodes, but the amethyst, yeah. It's the only place that I know that you can get it. Sorry, I just kind of went on a way, like, the other things going on this morning already on the Twitters, like, oh, there's a lot of political nonsense, and we're not even going to go there, but the unfortunate thing is we do a lot. Actually, yeah, let's not even talk about that. Let's not even think about that. So the other thing I was trying to think about is this. So we're at negative 31. We're way farther, like negative 1,432 and and then 2,468, which again is weird because that y-axis should be negative 2,468. Because when you do get into like algebra 2, that's the main thing that we learned. Plus, I mean, this was a dead giveaway, like, deep slate, whatever, being really deep. So, oh, there we go. Okay. So, anyways, so we're gonna have to dig to the surface. Oh, and it's convenient that we have. Let's go ahead and do that then. Um, yeah. Sorry. I mean, this is all spontaneous on the fly. Did not expect. Oh, but this could be dangerous because, and we're gonna need some stairs eventually, and without having iron already smelted and everything, um, and all these conveniences of home, like we can't really make the stuff that we need for that, or for stairs. To make it efficient, we can make stairs, but can't make netherrack stairs. That would be nice. And already I hear lava, so you gotta be careful with that. I mean, we can go right to this if we need. And there's a couple of like hazards of digging up. I mean, you could either have lava or you could have water. Now, water isn't as bad unless you're already kind of like in an area with a bunch of water, because if you get flushed out of a mine shaft that you're building, and then there's like some magma blocks, ooh, or I mean, well, there's that danger too. See, so all right, so lava, gravel, and then water. Water is probably the least dangerous, but it can still transport you to where you could get sucked down by like a magma block and like held to the bottom while you run out of oxygen, so and drown. But lava, then of course, it can come out of anywhere. It can be a hole in the wall. It can be, yeah. We're digging up, so then it would float down, and yeah. Luckily, with like these dark stones, I mean, it's annoying because they are so dark. Oh, and then you do like that. Oh, there's my 5-minute warning. Ah. Yeah, we might get to the, because we're just now at 0. So, oh, we gotta. I love it. Like we're talking about like networking and cybersecurity and all this, and then just all right. Now we're just trying to get to the top. Oh, and there's all this iron ore that I'd want, but yeah, no excuses. I want the iron ore. Okay. And now I don't hear the lava flowing, so that's good. Oh, lapis is nice. I already have blocks and blocks of it. Oh, minecart. Nice. All right, so an unexpected thing. Okay. We'll just leave that in here. So yeah, then we can get some extra rails and all this, and what's in here? Yeah. You can have some netherrack. Um, hmm. You know what? We can leave that there. But a golden apple. Oh, and a diamond. Mm, nah. I mean, diamonds are good, yes, but I don't know. So we'll just leave all that. We're continuing up to the surface because what we're gonna do, we can even make this like a 2 by 2 wide or 3 wide, but we're getting close. Then we can build another nether portal and break the other one, and then kind of show you what I was talking about last one, where like even if you get the wrong place, like which we might even consider with that one over the water, but then at the same time, it is kind of cool how it's like, oh, and see, there it is. There's the example of when water can strike. All right, so now, okay, oops. All right, so yeah, water will break your torch. Oops, we'll do that. Go get our torch. Oh, it's way down there. There we go. We got the torch. After all that. As you can see, we're getting up to 17, 18, 19, 20. I mean, if we can just keep going. Okay, so the water's not that bad. It's annoying, and we'll figure out how to clean it up if we do decide to keep the... Well, yeah, because we need access to go explore. Well, this could be bad if this is a mountain. Wait, Ah. Oh. Okay. Oh. Ah. What was that? Anyways, all the human